So we've got another very cold day here in Pori in southwest Finland, but the flip side of it, I'll just turn the camera around, is the absolutely superb blue sky. Not a cloud to be seen anywhere. Absolutely amazing. And of course it's pretty bright because the snow reflecting the light. But anyway, as you know, I'm not here to talk about that. What I am here to talk about is a pretty serious issue, which is demographic change. And my reference point is going to be the country that I used to live in, the UK, because it is beyond a doubt that the demography of Britain has changed extremely rapidly. There's some people on Bookface who were based in Rochdale, the town I was born in, and some of them will start hurling, the bog standard hurty words, one that begins with R, like basically accusing you of being a racist for even pointing out that there has been demographic change. Now, with that demographic change, there'll be advantages and disadvantages, and what should happen in a civilised, intelligent society is that there should be a debate where we can talk about the pros and cons of the demographic change that's occurred. And the other thing as well, you see, is that debate helps you to establish the truth, doesn't it? People with different ideas can exchange their views, and through a rigorous cross-examination we can maybe establish what the truth is. Anyway, all of that is stopped when people start hurling words out or phrases out that are just designed to stop the debate before it's even started. So, calling somebody racist or far right, or if you talk about replacement, then I guess the other phrase, conspiracy theorist, can easily be deployed. And as I say, the whole point of that is just to stop any debate from even beginning. Turn the camera around just so you can see what it looks like here. This is the river estuary that runs out into the sea, to the Baltic Sea. Next stop, Sweden. So obviously the main thing to say then is that demographic change in the UK, why has it occurred? Two reasons. Obviously immigration. Since Brexit, there's been more people coming into the UK from much further afield. So we haven't had European migration, we've had migration from other parts of the world, Africa, Middle East, places like Afghanistan, etc. And then the other side of it is being people of my ethnicity. We haven't been getting married as early, we haven't been having as many kids. So I think for us, the replacement birth ratio, I think, is it about 2.3 live births per woman? It's not being achieved. So the combination of these two factors, and also the fact that I guess many of the people that have been moving to the UK, their culture is such where, they do have more kids. So that's caused this rapid demographic change. And as I say, it's brought advantages and disadvantages. So, if you think about some of the disadvantages that people have been noticing, I don't think many Brits actually, from what I saw, are actually racist, but they are bothered about things like can't get their kids into school or can't get an appointment with an NHS GP. Obviously the price of housing, you bring more people into a country, the need for housing increases, and if everyone can get a mortgage or they've got access to benefits like housing benefit, for example, that's going to drive up house prices and rents. So people who good people who have got no prejudice towards other people. They don't like immigration because it's reduced their quality of life. I think the other thing that we have to be absolutely certain on too is that particularly in the UK, the type of people that they've brought in, I think it would be fair to say in recent years they've not been particularly had particularly good skills that are in demand in the labour market, so they've been more likely to claim welfare than they have to become doctors or nurses. I'm not saying that there's no immigrants who become doctors and nurses, but I think the net effect of migration has been that it's increased government spending far more than it's increased government tax income. And I think that's undeniable, basically. The governments run fiscal deficits. That's a situation where their expenditure is higher than their tax income. That adds to the total amount of debt that the country owes to foreign creditors. That's called the national debt. So, and then the government puts taxes up to pay extra interest on the national debt. I know there'll be people that say, oh yeah, it's all funny money, and and that's true, but so what isn't an illusion is the fact that people's taxes have been going up, and part of the reason for that has been more interest on a bigger national debt. So the conclusion so far then is that the demographics of Britain have changed. Second thing is we're not allowed to talk about it, we're not allowed to discuss it. And third thing is that I would say in the case of Britain and Finland actually, the type of migrant that both countries have been adept at attracting have been more likely to lead to increases in government spending than they have increases in taxation income. So that's caused debt problems and also problems to do with the housing market, healthcare. Not enough resources have been put in to those areas to cope with the increase in population. I guess another thing as well that's just so basic, but it just has to be explained, is that immigration will always increase GDP, the country's total output. But that's not the same as increasing living standards, because to get at living standards you need to calculate GDP per capita, GDP per head. And I think what's happened in Britain is that the population has grown at a faster rate than the country's output, than GDP. And so obviously GDP per capita has fallen, and that's where we're seeing lower living standards. I guess also as well, different people from different parts of the world have different cultures. Sometimes those cultures that you're importing, maybe they don't get along with other people, maybe they have habits that people that have been living in the host country don't like. So there's all sorts of problems to do with that. So people are annoyed. They're pretty annoyed about it. I can really sense that even from where I am in Finland by just looking at social media and everything. So what I'm going to talk about next is how do we solve these problems? Because I think there are very, very easy solutions. So to solve a problem, you need to understand the cause of the problem. So what we're looking at here is that why are millions of people from poor developing countries, why are they heading to Britain? And to a lesser extent to places like Finland. Having said that though, minus 20 puts a lot of people off, and then also you have the Finnish language. But anyway, why is Britain a hot destination? Maybe not climatically hot, but why is it a popular destination for people from the developing world? Is it the weather? Well, Britain might be a bit warmer than Finland in the winter time anyway, but I don't think that people from developing countries come to Britain because they like the weather. Is it the food? The people come from Afghanistan because they want to have fish and chips in Britain. No, British food isn't very good, so I don't think it's that. Is it British culture? You know, the people from Pakistan, do they come to Britain because they really like watching Carry On films on Netflix, or Love Actually or something at Christmas time on ITV4? Is it that? No, it's not. So people's behaviour, human behaviour, is purposeful. It's orientated towards an objective. So why do millions of people move thousands of miles to come to Britain? I put it to you that they come because they can they want a better material standard of living. Okay, so let's break that down. Why does Britain offer a better material standard of living? Main thing, I think, for somebody who's not got very many skills, you know, they're probably going to move to Britain and maybe initially be working for Deliveroo or maybe a cleaner or something like that. I actually saw this firsthand in the UK. And again, I want to make sure that I point this out. I have nothing personally against these people at all, you know, but it's important to understand their behaviour. So in Britain, they have these things called tax credits. And the idea of tax credits is that if you're married and you've got some kids, you can work part-time and the government will top up your wages so that you receive in total a full-time income, but only work part-time. And then on top of that, you'll be eligible for other benefits like housing benefit maybe. So you get to live in a nice house that's got maybe central heating. You know, I don't doubt that the people moving to the UK, they love their kids and they would like their kids to have an education. So if they come to the UK, they don't have to pay any money into the system first. From day one, their children will be entitled to free state education up until the age of 18. Absolutely fantastic from their point of view, you know, to pay nothing into the system and then be able to claim nevertheless. Another thing would be obviously the health service, maybe even council housing as well, maybe a complete freebie on that one. So there are quite substantial pull factors for these people. So this is why I believe millions of people come from third world countries to come and live in Britain. They want to find a better life for them, and Britain offers them an opportunity for that. Mainly because the system enables them to claim without having paid anything into the system, first of all. So, you know, that's why they come. So obviously one solution to the if you wanted to reduce the number of immigration, the amount of immigration, one solution to it would be to just simply scrap the benefits. If you remove housing benefit, you remove tax credits, you get rid of state education, you get rid of the NHS. So if you did that, people would have to pay for the things that they want. I put it to you that would actually dramatically reduce the number of people wanting to come and live in Britain. If you did that, this sounds terrible, doesn't it? You know, I know for many people watching my channel, they've got used to the welfare state. They've got used to the big government model. They really like the big government model, and they really can't think of alternatives to it. They can't think of any other possibility apart from what they've known. The thing that I would say to these people is, it's not working anymore for you, is it? Anyway, so in September when I went to Manchester, saw loads of homeless people. I didn't see anybody that didn't have the same sort of complexion as me. So it seems to me, I'm just some low branches here. It seems to me that the state is discriminating quite aggressively against people who have lived here all their lives, that have probably paid into the system. You know, a lot of the homelessness in Manchester is ex people that used to be in the British Army, and you know, they returned, got mental health problems, and the British government just throws them out onto the street. Again, you can see across this river estuary, it's all frozen up at the moment, but maybe not quite thick enough for me to walk on, so I'm not going to risk it. So this is the issue that we've got. You know, you can't get NHS, you can't, you know, you are a victim of technocratic central planning. Central planners decide issues pertaining to scarcity, and what they said basically to you is you're lower on our list of priorities than newcomers to Britain. And it's not us that are being racist, it's actually them who are racist, in that their priorities betray their prejudices, not ours. You know, the other thing that I would say too is the government manages to achieve this by, if you look at the type of people that work in, say, immigration or housing benefits, or these are often people that are relatively new to the country, so they have an in-group preference towards people of their own ethnicity, and that probably also explains the racial discrimination that goes on against whitey, which it most definitely does. It's undeniable to say that that isn't the case. So what do we do about it then? Well, as I say, I think we need to just remove the incentive for people to come, get rid of the entire welfare state, get rid of state schools. Oh, that would be terrible, wouldn't it? Hang on a minute. Are you happy with state education at the moment? You know, they have people, there's some pretty strange people coming into state schools and nurseries, reading stories to your kids. Your kids in state schools and private schools actually at the moment, because they're regulated by the government anyway, they do a great job of teaching your kids about Marxism, don't they? So you think, and then you can talk about the NHS. Is it working? Is it working properly? Or, like for me personally, I live in Finland, so I don't think I would trust the NHS with anything other than something like a broken leg. If I broke my leg in Britain, let's hope that I never do, or my arm or something like that, I might just go to accident and emergency and wait, you know, a day or something for them to try to reset it. But anything else, I would stay well clear of them, because I don't trust them anymore. They've shown their hand, and they do what they do using your taxes, your money. So for people to say, oh, well, what would we do without the NHS? Well, I would say things might improve an awful lot if we did get rid of it. So getting rid of welfare benefits too would have a massive advantage in that you wouldn't be taxed nowhere near as heavily. The only role for the state, I believe, is the provision of law and order and national defence. Everything else goes. Politicians cannot be trusted. So if you did that, you would slash taxes, welfare state goes. Some people might still want to come to Britain, but those people would be the type of person that's attracted by low taxes and a minimal welfare state where people look after themselves. You know, a society that rewards hard work and innovation. So I think immigration to Britain wouldn't stop, but the type of people moving to Britain, there would be people attracted to a system that rewards hard work rather than, as it is now, people being attracted to the UK by all the freebies that are on offer to people that haven't even paid into the system. Is there an alternative to what I'm suggesting? There is, but for me it will be my worst nightmare. And it's what you're being encouraged to choose, what you're, in a problem reaction solution way. It's something that you're being encouraged to call for, and that would be to live in a prison. So for me, over the last 3 or 4 years, what's become clear is that you cannot trust politicians. We want them out of our lives completely, so that we can make our own decisions and live our own lives without them butting in. So the solution that the corrupt politicians want you to choose is, we need to construct a prison for you. You need to live in a prison. We need to construct barbed wire fences around your country. We need to make your country into a fortress, so you end up living inside a prison. This is the other, looking back down the river now, the sea is still out over there. So my question to you guys is, do you want to live in a prison? Do you want to live in Fortress UK? For me personally, I don't want that. I don't think politicians should be given the power to decide where we can move. I think that's a crucial thing that I want to say is, why should politicians decide where human beings should live? I don't think they should be able to decide where we can and can't live. People should be, human beings were born to be free, free range. The other thing as well is that I don't want to keep the existing system that we've got now. You can't run a huge welfare state and free state education and free healthcare at the point of delivery and have open borders. You just can't do it. So if you gave me a choice, which would I prefer? I would prefer to live in a society where it's free. Borders are free, people can come and go as they please. Like, you can come and live in England so long as you pay your way. That's the type of country that I want. You can come to Britain if you've got the skills and the inclination to support yourself. I think this is the other thing as well that left-wingers sort of say, which I just don't get at all, is that why is somebody... Take Finland, for example. Finland's never had an empire or anything like that. Tell me why Finnish taxpayers are morally obligated to an Afghan? Because they're not. And if you want to sort of say that they are, well, then let's extend it, to somebody who's homeless in Manchester. If the government... What's the difference between housing immigrants and the government telling you that you've got to put up an ex-serviceman who's homeless inside your house? And if you refuse, then you're selfish. It's the same principle, and it's kind of nonsense. I do believe in charity, but charity isn't being compelled to share what you have, what you've earned, by some politician somewhere who's playing God. The only God that I'm willing to bow down to is Jesus Christ, not some Mickey Mouse politician like Tony Blair or Rishi Sunak or Sanna Marin or someone like that. It's ridiculous. So that's my solution, is when push to cut shove, you've got to make a choice between a welfare state or open borders. And for me, I'm an open borders type of guy. Let people live where they want to live, but you've got to be able to fund yourself. For me, when I came to live in Finland, I've never claimed a penny off the Finnish taxpayer, and I would see that as being completely immoral for somebody to move to another country and expect taxpayers in that country to just look after them. It's completely ridiculous. How has that become established as a principle, that somebody from another country has got a divine right to come to your home and then demand that you spend your money on looking after them, even though they've contributed nothing? It's ridiculous. So that's basically how I would solve the immigration problem. I don't want fences. I don't want people with guns on borders, because that gives politicians way too much power. And these people, after what's happened over the last 3 or 4 years, we should all realise now that the last thing that we should be doing is giving politicians more power over our lives. We can't allow these guys to rule over us. We need to be free to make our own decisions, including the decision about whether we want to help people with our money or not, and to decide which people we want to help and which we don't want to help. That should be up to us. The state, as I've been saying time and time again, it's not based on voluntary decisions, it's based on compulsion. You know, the state sends you a bill, you have to pay the bill. If you don't, they send the boys around with big sticks and guns, and if you don't do what they say, ultimately they use physical force against you. We need to move away from this system. The system that resulted in the nightmare that happened in March 2020. Because if we don't push back against it, these people will grab more and more power, and every passing year you'll become less and less free. So let's solve immigration in a humane, moral way by abolishing the freebies, the welfare state, and just say to people, yeah, you're free range. You know, if chickens can be free range, so can human beings, but you've got to pay your own way. You can move wherever you want, but you have to find a way of supporting yourself. Don't expect the government in the host country that you've moved to force other people at gunpoint or truncheon point to pay for your bills, to pay for your living expenses, because that is wrong. To move to another country and then expect, just, you know, that because you can breathe or something, or blink your eyelids, that you have a divine right to claim on other people's income and force them to pay against their will for your upkeep. It's completely out of order. So I think that's all I want to say today. I can see in the camera lens here that my beard has frozen up horribly. But yeah, that's all I want to say. It's about minus 19, 20 again. So yeah, God bless.